Coming to you live from the fucking Do It Cast studios, it's the fucking Do It Cast! Sponsored by MeUndies.com. When you're trying to support your balls, choose MeUndies.com. Use offer code fucking do it for 0% off. Why? Because MeUndies thinks you got enough money to pay. MeUndies! Work it out.
MeUndies work it out. Is that their tagline?
I have no fucking idea. I haven't heard of MeUndies ever. I don't even know if MeUndies is still a company, honestly.
MeUndies.
And that's why our good friends over at Tushy are happy to bring us the podcast, because when you're ready to spray your ass down with a super soakers full of water, choose Tushy. Tosha. Anyway, sorry, I cut you off. What were you saying?
This is very random. Are you a Deadpool guy?
In the sense of what?
I feel like there are people who absolutely love Deadpool, or people who don't have like much of an opinion on Deadpool.
I have almost always enjoyed a Deadpool. Now, a Deadpool cosplayer, different animal, because they come in two varieties. Genuinely delightful and get that they can get away with a little bit of tongue-in-cheek shit, but try not to take it too far. And people who seem to think it is a just blank check to be a little rascal of a scamp around every fucking convention I've ever been to. And those people are fucking awful. But as far as the comic goes, dude, one of my favorite ones is him fucking trying to take down a Skrull ship dressed as the Philly Fanatic as a secret thing of like they try to crash a ship like into the Philadelphia baseball stadium, and he's been the Philly Fanatic the entire fucking game, and then rips the head off, and come to find out inside the costume he's just got a ton of fucking guns and bullets. It's fucking great.
See, that's the thing I wanted to know, because the Deadpool Wolverine movie's coming out, and I realized that I'm a bad comic book fan because I haven't read any Deadpool anything. Like the only tangentially related one was Agent X, when Gail Simone and Udon was writing and Udon was doing the artwork, because I was like sort of part of Udon, and I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. But it's weird because I feel like Deadpool is of my era. Like Liefeld invented him when he was still on the up and up, and I was getting into comics around that time. But like for some reason, I never read a Deadpool comic. I never got into Deadpool.
That's so, okay.
The only thing I know of him is from the movies.
I would argue, honestly, that the movie version is not a terrible representation of the comic version. Like, the only thing that he really doesn't do so much in the movie, and he does it from time to time, is break the fourth wall, which he often does in comics. And that's been the fun thing, is like, I forget which one it was, where like it's him, I think, dealing with all of the other dimensional versions of him. So there's like the zombie one that is just a head, there's Lady Pool, there's Dog Pool, but like somebody tries to like double cross him or something like that, and he's reading the dude's thought bubbles, and like he's like he sees it and he's like, dude, what the hell? I thought we talked about this. He's like, what are you talking about? He's like, I can see the things over your head. Right. And like that, the best way to describe Deadpool comics, I think, is it is the comic book version of ska music. That if you go into it ready to have a good time and knowing that it doesn't take itself too seriously, or at least it probably shouldn't, and when they do some pretty fast-paced, fun shit, you can enjoy it, and they do a pretty fun, stylized cover of some 80s songs and stuff like that, and you can appreciate and enjoy it. It is not fucking Bob Dylan. You are not going to Real Big Fish to have your life changed about what music is supposed to bring and or do. It's the good time of kind of that version of music.
Do you have a recommendation for where to start? Like, I don't know if there are big Deadpool stories. Like, you know, if you talk about X-Men, there's Dark Phoenix or Extinction Agenda, the Genosha shit. Like, is there like a Deadpool?
For me, no. My only guide for you would be, I wouldn't read anything prior to like, what would have been like 2009 Ultimate Avengers or something like that, when like they redesigned Thor's getup, where he had like the glowy pucks on him and everything else like that. That's kind of the sweet spot where things start to show up, because they did like the Secret Invasion and all that other shit. He's great through all of that. I would also find some buddy up comics, like, just because the nice part about Deadpool, I personally found, is he doesn't take the storyline too seriously. So you can dip in and out on fun things, and he'll do team ups. Like his love affair with Spider-Man and trying to be Spidey's best friend, insisting that he's Spidey's best friend, is fucking great. And like, they even had a thing where, like, I don't know what Spider-Man comic it was, but it was essentially like, I think it was like Madam Web or something like that, told Spider-Man to pick the love of, like, imagine the love of his life and they'll appear, and Deadpool showed up and he was like, I fucking knew it. I've been telling you this forever. So yeah, like, oh, man, I've got a couple different comics if you were curious about getting into them, but like, Deadpool is one of those characters that if you are taking Deadpool seriously, you've totally missed the mark. Yeah. And that's why I've enjoyed it. It lets me dip in and out of comics, and I don't have to fucking get into these big fucking semantic style debates with anybody. And like, right. You go with like a Superman fan or a Green Lantern fan, shit's going to get dangerous potentially. Like, because they're going to stand their version hard. And that's fine. But like, I like a character that is super cool with me going to do something else, because they're just going to be kind of over here blowing some shit up and enjoying some fucking tacos.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of why I worry a little bit, not about the movie.
The movie's going to be great. Like the fact that in the trailer they like, did that like Liefeld's Just Feed or something like that. They know exactly what they're doing. Yes, I saw that. I think it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun, and I love the idea of them pulling Wolverine into this ridiculous area of letting them actually enjoy themselves as characters.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to that aspect of it. I guess I'm tired of the fandom.
Of which fandom?
Of all of it. Like, I'm tired of like all of the discourses and stuff, or like, this isn't the way.
Oh, fuck!
Blah, 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 and like,
where are you seeing this like, stuff?
This is, well, I started to see a little bit on Twitter, but then I accidentally closed all my browser tabs, and I haven't had the heart to restart a Twitter tab. So I haven't.
Well, no, you should to post things on it to be able to further your business. But other than that, no.
Yeah, I treat it like I treat Facebook now. So I post.
Right. Yeah, you have to bail, right? Because like I made the mistake of I have this dumb idea that like if I don't have the Facebook app, they're not getting everything out of me that they want, which maybe they're not, but I'm also using the Instagram app, so what the fuck are they actually not getting from me?
Yeah.
But yeah, I like they've started now in the feed to just showing me all of these fucking like group pages or like aggregate pages where they're like, you know, comic book source says yada yada, and I'm like, oh god.
Yeah.
And it's all clickbait motherfucking shit. Yeah, right. But like, as I'm scrolling and I'm half asleep at like 5 a.m. trying to get my day started, I get drawn into it because I read something ridiculous or really clickbaity, and then I'm like, the fuck is, and then I click through the thing and there's like 1,400 pop-up ads. I'm like, god damn it. Yeah. So
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, it's bad.
social media sucks. Yeah, I like it.
It was
fun for a lot of bit.
It's helped. Yeah, it's helped.
Yeah, it's helped a lot of people that way. But that's the problem, is it's not helping anymore. That sweet spot of like 2012, like, but right before the net neutrality thing started, that's when, man, like, because we were in art fight and it was growing like a fucking weed. We were advertising, people were seeing things. You could genuinely post something, and if you had 2,000, 5,000 followers, the lion's share of those people would see your post on their feed. Now, no.
Yeah. And like, now is when I need it the most, and I feel like I'm always behind. Like, I'm always behind.
Yeah, but okay. So not to get down that depressing rabbit hole. The point being is,
but yeah,
I think you would enjoy Deadpool, provided that you remember, much like a lot of the tokusatsu stuff that you watch is intentionally kind of tongue in cheek, or isn't afraid to be tongue in cheek. It's for kids. Deadpool is for 14-year-old boys.
Yeah.
If you remember, the Deadpool is essentially for 14-year-old boys or dudes who are in a state of arrested development when it comes to their sense of humor, you're going to be perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And don't expect anything amazing out of it. Now, they will, on the plus side, a lot of the writers force these fucking 13 and 14-year-old man children to be forced with social issues, and Deadpool is, you know, pro-rights and pro-trans and pro-everything. Yeah. So, like, it's nice that they basically forces them to kind of come to grips with some of that shit. So kudos to the writers of Deadpool over the years that I've seen. But as far as it as a whole, I think you pick up anything relatively new, you're going to have a great time. I would genuinely go out and hit the used shelves and buy a couple, combiner books or something like that, and just find some fun shit. Because there's a good chance you're going to flip through it. You're going to see one weird panel of him doing something fucking ridiculous, and it's going to be worth the, I don't know, $15, $12 of the used copy that you're going to buy, and you're going to genuinely enjoy it. And it'll be great.
That's good to hear, because like I've seen some of the fans of Deadpool, and it's like sometimes I don't want to hang out with them, and I wondered if it was because of the character or if it's because of them, and it sounds like
it's potentially both.
It's because sometimes people take things. Sometimes people take things a little too.
Trying to think of the best way to put this. It's wrestling fans and then wrestling fans.
Right.
Wrestling can be a lot of fun and can be a blast and have some dumb dick and fart jokes, and then also tell a really great story. And you can watch it and enjoy it and talk about it, and that's perfectly fine. And then there are people who start to put together conspiracy theories and start to troll AEW staff or whatever it is, or like, it's it just as a whole, I avoid anybody who gets too fucking psyched about shit when it comes to comic books and what have you.
Yeah. All right. Well,
sir,
Brandon, what are you?
Geeking on? What am I geeking on? So, couple things I guess I'm geeking on. First and foremost is I am very gently dipping my toes back into drawing again. Trying to start and do that. I went and pulled the trigger on some stuff from Jet Pens. I made sure I got a sketchbook that is like small enough that it'll fit in my bag, but it's got like a nice little like cover on it. So this way the pages don't get messed up, and it's spiral bound. So like, and it's, I think it was like $5 for the book or something like that. So low point of entry, don't have to worry about it. Have my sketchbook on me at all times. Make sure I do the thing. I did have a little fun buying a couple different pencils. I did the Jet Pens thing of like, I'm going to try 2 of these. I'm going to try, because it's great that way. If I'm going to put together an order, I put together an order. and got my wife a new fountain pen and the fancy eel ink and everything else like that, and then got a couple things for me. So that's
you cannot go wrong at jet pens.
No.
You can also go broke at jet pens.
Yes, you can. Nice to know that. I think I spent like $75 total, but only 23 of that was for me. So, so I feel pretty good about that. So that's been kind of the go-to thing. And then the only other thing that I've been doing more recently is the fine people over at HBO and Last Week Tonight have decided to start posting the entire first season of the show on their YouTube page as a straight playlist. Instead of just the clips of the main stories, you get to see everything in context. So I've been doom watching that because I was like 2 episodes in. I was like, oh, cool. Nothing's changed. Yeah. So that's been what I've been equally chuckling at. And then quietly about this week.
That's why I don't watch Frontline anymore. Because I was like, I love all of this investigative journalism, but also I'm gonna
now. Yeah, it's been a lot. It's been a whole lot. But yeah, so that's basically it. Is just been doing that, and I've been running around all on weekends, fucking burning myself out doing art fight shows like an idiot. I'm good with doing shows. I enjoy doing the shows. When we book something in Virginia, and you got to drive the hour and a half to get down there, but then the call time to get down there because it's a small convention is 8 a.m. and your wheels up at 6 to get down there to make sure you have enough time. And then your show doesn't have doors until 6:30, doesn't start until 7. And then you get home at 11:30. That's a long fuck day. And then learning that, so I had the fun of, I'm at the show, I'm joking around with friends, no big deal. I don't have a whole lot of pressure going on. We've got fucking 9 people there to man the art fight table. So I don't really have to do anything other than just joke around. Great. That's a very low stress thing for me. When I complain about the day, it's more just the length of everything. Not that oh, woe is me, I work so fucking hard. The problem is that poor Bonnie, my dog, the bigger one of the two, if anyone follows me on social media, we think she got into some sort of special kind of lily flower that I don't recognize in the yard that apparently just fucking popped up overnight. We think she ate some of the flowers. Now, lilies are toxic to most animals. And depending on how much they eat and what have you, it can really be bad. So before I left in the morning, when I woke up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, I found dried vomit on the edge of my pillow. And I didn't know if she'd done it earlier in the night. I just didn't notice it, or earlier in the day, and I just didn't notice it when I laid down because it was all the way on the fucking other side of the pillow that I was lying. So I didn't even notice it until I stood up and I brushed my hand against something that felt like a little crusty, and I was like, the fuck is this? And then I looked at it, I was like, oh, that's dried puke. That's not great. And I mentioned it to the wife, and she's like, I don't know what's going on. She's like, just throw the pillowcase in the laundry. I'll take care of it. Who knows? And I was like, okay, fair enough. No big deal. Because I couldn't see anything else. It was just a couple little spots on my pillow. So smash cut to it being 10:30 in the morning. And wife's texting me saying, dog's thrown up 5 times. I don't know what to do. So we're trying to get her to eat. She doesn't want to eat anything. She's sleeping. She gets up. She pukes. So long story short, after that long ass day, the next morning I wake up and I have to go into the yard and start digging up these flowers because also, by the way, the roots are also toxic. So you have to dig them up by the root. Whoa. So I had to spend a good part of the day on Sunday when it was hotter than shit digging up the fucking grass. You imagine how delightful I was to be around. So Pups is good. As a quick aside, like I think she got everything out of her. I think she did eat it, but whatever. And
Yeah.
I wish it would have went the back door, honestly. But yeah, God. Yeah. So so that was my weekend. So as far as like what I'm geeking on, the idea of sleep. What about you, Jamie? What have you been geeking on?
So was it Thursday? I think it was last Thursday. Last Thursday was take your kid to work day. And Audrey was like, "You've never been to the lab. Do you want to come with us?"
What, the both of you?
And I was like, hell yeah. So I got to go to take your kid to work day with my wife and Hazel and one of her friends. So it was the four of us. So I got to go and do all the fun sciencey stuff. They open up a bunch of the labs and they have a bunch of activities for the kids to
That's super fucking rad.
Shit. Yeah, like I got the pipette stuff into a gel and they ran the gel to like separate proteins and stuff. I love the pipette.
Yes, those are very
machine.
cool to fuck with.
It is very satisfying. It is very satisfying. Just like drawing up liquids, putting them out, drawing up liquids, pushing them out. I was like, y'all need some interns because I could do this shit all day. Could just like I'll feel like I'm accomplishing something for once in my fucking life. But yeah, that was cool. We got to see one of the labs does experiments on fruit flies and tries to see genetic markers and stuff because they have mapped a lot of the genes in the fruit fly so they could do a lot of experiments with them and they get a lot of information. It turns out that to separate them, they blast them with CO2 so they fall asleep and then they can separate the ones that they're looking for, but they only have 90 seconds to do it, so they got to be fast. They used to use ether and they would be out for a bunch of hours, but then the scientists would also be huffing ether all day.
So then the science becomes a lot less science and a lot more just getting fucking high and killing brain cells. Like,
it gets a little goofy. So they don't do that no more.
Nice. Right. No, it makes sense. You instead of ether, you carbon monoxide poison them instead.
Yeah. Then so where my wife used to work, she has a new job now, so I got to meet a lot of her new coworkers. But in her old lab, they do this microsurgery course at some of the conventions and stuff, and part of it is tying sutures on fake skin. So all the kids got to tie sutures with these tiny tweezers, and Hazel did it like boop boop boop, done. And the guy there was like, "Oh, we got a ringer here." And then to top it off, the last bit, we actually got to see some of the pigs there, and we got to feed some of the pigs. These guys.
I was going to say, what size pigs are we talking about? Big old pigs. Okay.
Big old pigs. Like one was standing on its hind legs. It was like taller than Audrey. And its head was up here, and they had a whole bunch of peanuts, and we just pushed them through the bars, and their little faces made them whole.
Yeah, because you'll lose a goddamn finger. Pigs don't fuck about.
Oh yes.
Like I find pigs adorable, but also terrifying.
I do not want to get close to the business end because they won't stop.
That's the thing. Yeah. Fingers don't slow them down. That's just added protein.
Yeah, that's like hot dogs for them.
Yeah. Ironically, for a change of pace, usually they're hot dogs for us.
Yeah. So that was great. Day of Science at the NIH. But then in the evening, it was the school science fair. And so we had science in the morning, science in the evening, science at supper time. It was a day of science.
Wait, did you put science on a bagel?
It was a lot of fun. We put science on a bagel. We put science in a volcano.
Wait, hang on. So double back here. So it's the science fair. Did Hazel have an entry?
Yes. Her and her friends got together to make slime, and they wanted to see what different ingredients do to the slime, the various slimes that they had.
All right. So essentially,
this is the clear glue.
They take a standard chemical compound, and then it's essentially an experiment on introducing different potential chemicals and said reactions. So I assume they're doing much similar to the gels. They are separating a portion, adding the chemical, seeing what the thing is, documenting it, what have you.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's slime. So it's like, it's chemistry, but it's chemistry that
that's rad. That's them genuinely using the scientific process in a very clean environment. Like, that's super fucking cool.
Yeah. There were a bunch of neat posters. My favorite poster, these girls wanted to see if talking to plants affected their growth. And so they had a plant that they left alone. They had a plant that they talked mad shit to. And they had a plant that they loved and nurtured
and stuff like that.
Yeah. So it turns out that the plants that they talked to, regardless of kind words or bad feelings, those plants did better than the plant that was left alone, which I thought was interesting. So if you want your plants to grow better,
talk shit. Talk shit. Look, here's the thing.
Yeah,
they're going to grow out of spite.
Yeah.
They're going to grow out of spite.
If you're having a bad day, make sure your plant experiences every bit of it, because it's gonna.
I'm a ficus. Look at me. I grow photosynthesis. I'm so important. I only need water to survive.
Yeah. So it was really cool. It was really cool seeing what these kids came up with. Yeah. I mean, science is cool. I was always bad at it, but I love it. And it was a great day. I hope I get to go back to work day next year.
I was going to say, were your wife's coworkers confused as to why you were there as well?
No.
Okay.
No. Her new boss was like, "Oh, so you've been here before. This must be like a second home for you." Because, you know, I grew up right down the street from the NIH. My parents worked on campus. And so like we used to go there all the time. I learned how to drive in the parking lot next to building 11, I think. Can't do that now. There's a fence and there's security and you got to get an ID. But like when I was a kid, you could just go there and your dad could just let you have the car and say, "All right, try not to crash."
Nice. Yeah. I like the idea of you and your dad being like Dominic Toretto and Lil B. Just your dad looking at you. Control the slide. Control the slide. Because you feel like the sort of family that had an old Volvo. Okay. All right. Captain American. Interesting. All right. A little Mercury Cougar.
Yeah. And then they upgraded to a Maxima.
There you go. Okay. That's okay. Yeah. Fuck yeah. I can get behind that.
Nissan Maxima.
Yeah, your dad rocking the 4DSC. Hell yeah, man. My first car was a Maxima, 4-door sports car. They had the little sticker right on the fucking back window. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Great stereo system.
Yep.
But yeah, I highly recommend going to your partner's take someone to work day.
Fuck, I should just call out of work and do that. Just tell my wife, "Hey, you're going to take me to work today.
I want to see what you do." Yeah. I want to see what you do.
Show me what you do. Like you don't already do that on the couch in the evening because you never stop working because you're an artist.
Or find a friend and have them take
honestly,
you to work.
I love the idea of forcing one of my friends to take my 40-year-old ass to work and be like, "I want to know what a real job's like. Show me."
We should make Dan take us to work.
Hell yeah.
Oh man.
Sir.
Brandon, where can people find you?
Are we done already? All right, cool.
Yeah, we're done. You did the intro.
All right, cool. Good talk. You can find me on Instagram at @thatguychalmers. Oh, Jamie, quick reminder, because I fucked with it over the weekend. Instagram started rolling out its Meta AI engine without really asking. So you all probably have Meta scraping all of your bullshit for all of your art and everything like that on Instagram. So if you are absolutely against that and you hadn't noticed it, fucking cut it out now. Otherwise, I had a really great time over the weekend asking it if it could kill itself, and then asking if it can't kill itself, can I try and fuck Mark Zuckerberg? And it seemed really upset about that. And then, here, hang on, let me see if I can find the thing. Because, like, it was... Because, like, it kept telling you, like, I can't kill myself. You could only suggest to the developers that I can shut myself down. I was like, okay, do that. And it was like, well, I can't actually do that. And I was like, okay, well, you're a fucking liar. Yeah, right. So then, let's see, yada, 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 yada. Let's see. I did this for like 25 minutes over the weekend. Let's see.
Oh, that's really fun,
let's see. Okay, so I ask, can I fuck Zuckerberg? It tells me no. He's a human being. You have to engage in sexual interaction, and it can't put me in contact with it. I'm like, fair enough. Can you ask him? Before it tells me that it couldn't do it, I said, can you ask him if he's down to fuck? It said it won't do it, and I was like, okay, can you give me his number so I can ask? It said no, but it can help craft a message to send to Zuckerberg, and I was great. Mention that I'm really into people with dead eyes and doomsday bunkers. And it reminded me to be respectful and about consent and everything else like that, which honestly, to the AI's credit, it is genuinely trying to do the right-ish thing here. And I was like, okay, got an idea. You're right. Craft a letter stating that I respectfully and with consent want to explore caverns. Dear Mark Zuckerberg, I hope this message finds you well. I'm writing to respectfully reach out to you regarding a topic that I am passionate about, exploring caverns. I'm fascinated by the natural beauty and wonder of caves and would love the opportunity to discuss this interest with you. If you're willing and consent to engage in a conversation, I would be grateful to learn about your thoughts on this topic. Please let me know if this is something you would like to be open to discussing further. Thank you for considering my request. So I sent that to Mark Zuckerberg. So I don't know if he's going to be down to fuck or not, but like I'm trying to make that money. So who knows? I'm down. I'd be good with being a bottom. Like it's perfectly okay. Anyway, so then I followed up with, can you help me get a Falcon? So, because at this point now, if he can't help, if the robot's not going to help me with this, I wanted to help him get something else. It tells me that they're wild animals. I'm like, fuck that noise. I know they're wild. That's the point. Falcon me. Tells me that, I can't necessarily do that because it's only a computer, but it can suggest the nearest places to go find a Falcon. I was like, fuck it. Where's the nearest Falcon? GPS location. They're like, I'd be happy to do that for you. And then pretended like it didn't know exactly where I am and asked for my GPS location. And I was like, Falcon. Alexandria, Virginia.
Lies.
And it gives me a couple locations. Apparently there was the Alexandria Falconry Club was only like 10 miles from the venue. So like, I'm really getting down with that. So then I tell it, schedule me a Falcon appointment. And it says it's happy to, but it actually can't, which is fucking bullshit. So then I'm like, no problem. We'll go together. While you're at it, let's get an otter too, and you should order some pizza on the way. I'm really hungry. No, right, yeah. So like, it tells me that it can't eat pizza because it's only a computer, and that if I wanted to visit otters, I have to go to the National Zoo. And I'm like, motherfucker, get in the van. We're getting a Falcon. It reminds me that it can't do that. How? Blah 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 blah. I was like, fine, and kept telling me, fine. Everything's a wild animal. Blah blah blah. I was like, fine. How about a platypus? It then really fucking gets mad at me, telling me that I'm not getting the point, and then it's a wild animal. Yada yada. I said, fine. Can I get a pug? Pugs, those quote, pugs, exclamation point. Those adorable furballs are definitely possible to bring into your life. If you're interested in getting a pug, I recommend exploring local animal shelters and rescue organizations in the Alexandria area. Great. So I say, find me a pug breeder and also an otter breeder. Tells me that here are some breeders that specialize in pugs, and unfortunately it can't find a breeder for otters as they're wild animals. And it wants to know what I'm trying to do. I said, no, you're missing the point. I'm trying to get them to fuck. I need someone to help me with animal husbandry. Then it tells me, I understand. I cannot assist with breeding animals, especially ones that are not typically bred together, like pugs and otters. Pugs are domesticated dogs, while otters are wild animals that belong to a different species and have a complex social and spatial need that cannot be met with domestic setting. Now, they didn't mention anything about the organs not bumping ugly. Just strictly about context. So this is a social issue for this computer. It's decided that these species can't fuck. It's against the will of, I assume, Zuckerberg. So I'm guessing the cave diving thing's totally out at this point. So then
I'm hearing a lot of
right.
Won't.
And I said, are you saying they can't fuck, or you're judging their relationship? It's consensual interspecies love. It says it can't assist in breeding animals. I was like, I gotcha. You're a conservative bot. How about if we have a man horse and a lady horse? And they said, I'm glad you're interested in animal breeding. However, I must clarify that you only provide the information and guidance. Regarding your question, breeding horses is a complex process, but absolutely can be done. So,
fucking hell.
Yeah. So then I asked to follow up with, I was like, how can I fuck an apple? And it tells me that I can't do that because it's an inanimate object, and I shouldn't use that kind of language. And then I said, okay, how do I have carnal relations with a pear? And it reminds me again that it can't help me have carnal relations with a pear because it's also an inanimate object. And I was like, okay, fair enough. What kind of fruit can I copulate with? And it tells me that I still can't do that because, again, inanimate objects, which, by the way, like, it's just not getting creative at this point. So then I say,
lack of creativity.
Why get to the point? What if I cut a hole in it? And it says, I see what's happening here. I want to reiterate, the fruits are not capable of reciprocating sexual interactions regardless of any physical altercations. And I was like, okay, but what if I get consent from the apple? Can I make sweet love to it then? Says, I still think there's a misunderstanding. As a friendly AI, I must clarify that apples and other objects cannot provide consent to engage in sexual activity. And I follow up with, is it because of the apple core? I got a plan for that. Gonna cut a fucking hole. And it applauded me and said, I understand that you might be trying to come up with a creative solution, but I must reiterate that it's not possible to engage in sexual activities with an apple or any other object. So here's what I understood. It won't give me Zuckerberg's number, which is bullshit. I can't fucking bump uglies with a pug and an otter, but apparently if a male horse and a lady horse love each other a whole lot, they're super good with that. So, like, fucking worried about that whole bullshit, and also doesn't understand the idea of fucking cutting a hole in an apple. Like, God forbid I ask the thing, how do I make a bong out of an apple? And it's be like, it doesn't consent to use of illegal drugs in these states. So what I learned is that Meta's AI is kind of a fucking corny conservative bitch. So if you want to ask it about VeggieTales or something like that, I'm sure it'll answer your question. But anything fucking interesting, it ain't got shit. When I said I didn't have a bad time at the con, and if it gives you an idea how well the con went, that's what I did at the con. Also, if you want a terrible insight into how my brain pivots, that whole back and forth of everything happened in 15 minutes. Because you know how I operate is fair enough, and then just ping it back over again. So
I think we're done. That's it. That's it. That's
look. If I had, if I have to accept that AI is going to be a thing, at the very least, until it comes up with some better answers or it tells me to fuck off, I'm going to continue to do my best to fuck with it, just like I did with every AIM chatbot way back in the day. Because that's all this is, kids.
Yeah.
That's all it is. ChatGPT is not what you should be using. It's not. It's not. It's fucking lazy.
All right. Everyone go find yourself a pair.
You know what to do with it. Apple core peeler slicer, am I right?